Welcome to July of 1992. We are back again exploring our favorite decade. With me, as always, I have Cass. How's it going?
It's going great.
Wesley, good to have you back again.
Yeah, y'all already know what it is. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's a beautiful summer day in July of 92, and let's get right into the events of the month. So Fox Broadcasting adds Wednesday night TV programming. What did they do before then? I don't really know, but we do have the premiere of Melrose Place. Anybody you watched?
Single episode.
Don't try to tell me you didn't.
0% is the number, Brett.
Heather Locklear making a huge comeback.
Okay, no, you're right. I did check out that chick. I checked out the black chick for a sec. Like, no, she's not enough to get me into the show. I wasn't feeling it at all. There was no good to be had there.
Went on to have a pretty good run though.
Sure.
Seeing these pictures is not jogging any sort of memory for me.
It was.
I remember her.
So it was a slightly more grown up 90210. Yeah,
that's right.
Fox had found something that worked for him, and
Aaron Spelling doing his thing, right?
Absolutely. No hockey news this month, all right. But I do have a little baseball for you as the Florida Marlins unveil their uniform. Florida Marlins will be joining the fray.
That's terrible, bro. Terrible. I'm looking at it and
not loving the Marlins uniforms, huh?
Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that light blue, period. In athletics, I'm not a fan of it. I even think like the North Carolina uniforms to a certain degree are, I don't know, they're a little soft. It's like that. The old Charlotte uniforms.
It's baby blue.
Yeah, I'm not with it. It's cool though, whatever. There's some badasses that play in that color. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but
absolutely.
Nah, I'm a red and black kind of a guy.
I tried to get in on the Marlins, something new, but stuck to the Cubs for the most part.
Braves for life.
On July 9th, Kim Basinger gets her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the 1,959th star.
Congratulations, Kim Basinger. Second place vote for sexiest cartoon character ever.
Oh, definitely. Second only to Jessica Rabbit, right?
Of course, right? Of course.
And it's funny that you should mention that. A little foreshadowing for later on. So
that's a good picture, though.
That is a good picture, yeah.
That other one was, I was like, Kim Basinger was a thing. And then you see this one, and you're like, oh, yeah, Kim Basinger was totally a thing.
She was totally a thing. This is Vicky Vale above everything else to me.
No doubt. Fair enough. Good call.
But a solid career.
Vicky Vale. And who?
Eminem's mom.
Oh, Eminem's mom.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt.
Totally forgot about that. So, good, long career.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
All right, let's shift gears over to a less fun one, but interesting one nonetheless. Career killer, right? Presidential candidate. This is Ross Perot at an NAACP speech. Calls the crowd "you people." I don't know is the origin of that.
Yeah,
but that
derogatory term.
I would love to hear him say it in context. Right?
Yeah, I should have grabbed some video of that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that it was totally unintentional, but you know how politics goes. You cannot make a mistake.
Whatever. We were kids then. I'm open to the idea that Ross Perot was super sketchy Texas guy also, but I remember him like as a loving character in my head. Like, oh, fun Ross Perot. He wouldn't have said anything to insult black people, would he? But you never know.
I can't get the SNL version of him out of and like I
can't
picture the real Ross Perot for who was it, Dana Carvey who played.
That's right.
Yep. It's funny how if SNL does anything right over the last 20 years, it's the presidential thing. Like from Ross Perot, Clinton, Bush, even Trump recently with Alec Baldwin and Hillary. Like
I feel like I even remember
who they are
Daddy Bush.
To me.
Yeah, absolutely. Who played W? There was somebody that played W, right? Not W, but
H, right?
H. Yeah, played H.
Surely there was.
Wasn't that Dana Carvey as well?
I feel like that's true.
Probably.
What I don't remember is
and then Will
who
Ferrell
played Reagan.
That's going back to 80s SNL, which I just don't remember enough about.
At all.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering how far back those SNL softening what the presidents are for public consumption. Because you're right, that's 100% what I feel like happens. That's for better or worse, because some people should be remembered as vile in certain ways, but maybe not. Hey, that's
Right.
terrible. Whatever. Ross Perot, he's awesome and lovable, and you should thank Dana Carvey for it.
63rd All-Star baseball game. The AL wins 13-6 at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. Ken Griffey Jr. is your MVP. Ken Griffey Jr., my favorite baseball player probably ever. So he got the pass. Just here he is with
The
20 wins.
sweetest swing in all of baseball.
He made baseball cool. I'll give him that.
There it is.
He
That's the
was,
shot.
that's yeah, no doubt. For a kid who again gave 0 Fs about baseball as well, just a little bit more than I cared about hockey. I cared about baseball, right? Ken Griffey was a name that I knew and respected and I thought was cool and all these other things, and was probably the only baseball player I could name other than like random Braves players' names that were being tossed around, but
Just because you were hearing them all day locally, so to
local,
speak.
yeah, kind of, right? And
You,
maybe I could have picked some of those pitchers out.
you know, for me, the baseball video games and collecting baseball cards were really what it was about. Like far more than actually watching the games as a kid in the 90s. It was just,
Sure.
the games were obviously shorter, more fun, more interactive, and something about baseball cards grabbed me for a little while there in the early 90s. Up next, I got big celebrity wedding for you guys. Any guesses?
I'm so excited.
All right.
Big celebrity wedding.
Is it a wedding that we would have cared about? I can't imagine that there was a single wedding in the world
Okay,
that I cared
so
about in
Bruce
1992.
Willis and Demi Moore.
that's a very good guess.
That's a good guess. Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe you would have passively cared about it, and as you got older, it became more interesting to you.
Dennis Rodman and Madonna?
Did they get married? Well, how about Whitney Houston and Bobby
Oh,
Brown?
yeah, no doubt. I did care about that very much. I did care about that very much because Bobby Brown was a demigod. Whitney was like old people music, if I'm being perfectly honest.
She was old people music when she debuted.
Yeah.
But really good at
Beautiful music. Yeah, beautiful music, but like,
one of the best
yeah,
in the
mom,
world.
I'll
in
listen
her
to
prime.
this with you. I'll listen to this with my mom, but it's my mom's music. And then I
Too
grew to love her a
lovey-lovey.
little bit more. What it shocked me because when they got married, I was like, why is Bobby Brown marrying that old ass lady?
Why is Bobby Brown marrying anyone?
But he's marrying her because she's beautiful with
Power
a
couple.
warm soul
Yeah.
and she's kind of hood, right? So she was like a real one at the same time. Yeah, Whitney was a beautiful voice and a spirit that's missed.
It was his prerogative.
Bobby was that dude to me, bro. You couldn't tell me anything bad about Bobby Brown back then.
Right. So much so that it's even hard for me to be mad at him now.
I'm not mad at him. For what?
I don't know, introducing drugs to his family, but it didn't affect me in any way. So, and I don't know the whole story. So,
we weren't there.
There's
we don't
that.
know.
Love this
Again,
this classic wedding photo, though. This is awesome. Don't really like whatever Whitney's got going on with the head thing there, but that's just opinion.
A little too white on the top of her head. I'd like to see some hair.
Right.
But that may just be like a bad resolution on the camera also. So,
That's true. We're dealing with
she's beautiful.
1992 cameras. Moving on to July 22nd, Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar escapes from prison.
Head man.
Isn't he the guy that this Netflix show is about?
Was that Narco? Is that what that?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, I've not seen it, but I think so.
It's one that I've wanted to watch, but again, like now when I start a series, I'm like, man, I gotta watch how many more episodes of this?
Yeah, like, am I really trying to get invested for real? And then what if I really like it? Then I'm for real, like, really? Is this a rabbit hole that I want to go down?
You guys got me wanting to watch Breaking Bad, and I'm afraid to do it for that same reason. I'm like, do I have 100 hours to watch this?
So not just that, but how about like the energy that you get from consuming art, right? I don't care what anyone says. Like, it's up for debate how much we want to blame art for the way that people interact with the world, but it having an emotional effect on you is like undeniable, right? So like diving into the world of Breaking Bad on a deep binge for what would take a normal person at the very, well, let's call it a month, right? If you
I was
really
thinking
wanted
a
to
month or
feel
two. Yeah, if I was
sure.
steadily watching it every day for a couple
Right, and
hours,
you're like, every day you're going down this really dark rabbit
like
hole.
you're living
It
with
gives
Walter
it
White
gives
for
your
a while.
yeah, it gives your life a different kind of an energy,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
yeah, and knowing that, Narcos has been something that I kind of avoid because I'm really not trying to have that energy. I've eliminated horror movies and a lot of things from my life because of Amy, for the most part, because of my wife, but that energy is not missed at all.
I totally
Yeah,
respect that.
I like to feel good. I like comedies. I'm not that I do watch some dramas, but for the most part, I want to laugh. I want to enjoy what I'm watching.
Right, right.
Like
I'll tell
even
you what,
man,
92, I would have been down.
I like superhero movies, but a lot of the DC stuff is so dark. I don't really. I
Sure.
gravitate more towards the poppy Marvel stuff.
Right,
Because it's going to
absolutely.
give you at least mostly the happy ending you're looking for.
Right.
Sure,
And I really want to see this Joker, but at the same time, like I'm just thinking, man, this is going
bro,
to be a dark
You're
movie.
going to
bro.
come away. I don't know anything about it, and I refuse to learn anything about it because I do want
Right,
to see it. But I know that you're going to come away feeling grimy from it. I can
absolutely,
feel it. You know.
Yeah,
bro. And
even the
let's
way the
go do it. Let's go get grimy because
Let's do
I
the
it.
can
way
do
the
it for 2
trailer
hours. I'm not gonna do it for a month, but I can do it for
Right.
2 hours.
like the way the trailer and everything is shot, it looks grimy and dirty.
We'll talk after the show today.
So down
Let's
for
pick
that.
a time and go see it. Moving on, July 25th, the 25th Olympic Games open in Barcelona, Spain. We talked about this a bit in the past where you guys are a little less into Olympics. Although
This is Dan and Dave, right?
this is the year to get into it with basketball if nothing else.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is the dream team. That's what this is. Dan and Dave was the '80s. True.
There were some great commercials, but if I remember, one of the guys didn't even make the Olympic team,
That's right.
right? And the other
Exactly.
guy did nothing.
Yeah,
So they did all this hype and it was all for naught.
that was a lesson in overhype, right? In TV overhype, and we were all fortunate to receive it because it was like, oh, the TV people will tell us something is great and it's not nice. Noted. At least for me, that's what it was. Like, oh yeah, y'all just be blowing smoke half the time. These people aren't at all what you're saying to a certain degree, or at the very least, you'll lie to me.
My brain's been indexing since you guys said Dan and Dave, and I'm finally like deep in the recesses starting to have a vague memory of what you're talking about.
Is that right? That was a big deal, bro. That was like a
That was
heavy
like
marketing campaign. They made a 30 for
every
30 on it, I
commercial
think.
break, there was a Dan and Dave commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely. They were on like
slowly pulling up just the
cereal
hint
boxes
of
and things. They were
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
And
because
one
they
of
were
them
what,
was a
track and
bust,
field?
right?
One of them
Yeah,
didn't make the Olympic team, and the other one,
didn't do
like I
anything in the
said,
Olympics.
he made it, but he
He
wasn't
didn't have
a
he
medalist.
didn't come home with anything. Okay.
He may have. I don't think he did though.
I don't think he did. But
It could be
I
a
don't
real
remember what year
podcast. We
that
need to
was,
fact check that.
but I remember those commercials.
Probably 88 then, right? Because that would have been
That's what I'm feeling like.
the
Yeah,
previous Olympics to this. And we would have been old enough to at least somewhat remember things. So, speaking of being young, July 20,
92.
July 27th, Japanese swimmer Kyoko Iwasaki wins the 200-meter breaststroke in Barcelona, becomes the youngest to win an Olympic gold medal at 14 years old.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, it's a girl, but congratulations.
Congratulations to her. Sorry, I was looking up Dan and Dave, and it totally was 92.
Was it
So
92? Awesome. That would make it a little more memorable for sure. And also
yeah,
note that zero eventual facts came up about Dan and Dave when I was researching the month, so that
are
tells you
you
something.
what?
Well, that just means they didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like the
They
event,
wanted to be forgotten.
right? Like they're.
I'm going.
But I'm glad
How
you
is
brought
that
it up.
possible? Yeah, I'm gonna say like behind the dream team for U.S. Olympics in '92, that was the biggest story. I've got to believe that there wasn't a bigger story in the Olympics in 1992 other than the dream team, Dan and Dave, and the bust. But I guess the bust happened early enough that it didn't matter. Doesn't matter. Whatever. I'm not going to derail the conversation with
Well,
this.
I'm
That is
guessing
strange.
at this point, the bust already happened, right? And so now you just got whichever one made it to the Olympics. And since
Right.
he didn't do anything, there was nothing to report. Right?
I guess.
Just think if it had been in today's time where there's so much content, so many news articles and sports writers, like there would have been a whole series dedicated to what the guy was doing and how bad of a bust he turned out to be.
And the thing is, I don't think they. So to put some respect on their names, I don't think they were really bust. And I want to say like the 30 for 30 that they did on the whole thing kind of supported the. It was kind of a series of unfortunate events also, but I could be way off base and they could have just been overrated. Maybe there was like some other circumstances that led to it being a tragedy and not just a comedy.
Hands down, far superior athletes than I will ever be.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
Right.
mean,
And that may have been the
being-
takeaway. Like, yeah, these guys were actually badasses.
Yeah.
They just picked the wrong
My
year.
1997 varsity MVP trophy doesn't really hold up
Boom.
to almost
You
making
were
it to
the
Olympics.
MVP.
I was the MVP.
Do it.
There's a trophy somewhere at my parents' house.
Right?
Nice.
Nice.
They weren't giving out participation awards back when I played, so I
Nope.
got nothing. I do have some karate trophies, but that's for another day.
Karate Kid.
July 27th, Nelson Mandela says a general strike will go ahead and protest for the removal of South African President F.W. de Klerk from power for free elections. Now, at its
That was
face,
nice of Terry Bradshaw to.
it does look a little Bradshaw. He's just too short, right?
Right.
The cool thing to know about this is when I say it, it sounds like F.W. de Klerk is some terrible guy. They end up working this out, and I think this is where Nelson Mandela, of all the wonderful things he did, he gets some credit for making most of this happen very peacefully. And they both co-won a Nobel Peace Award for working it out, like to the benefit of what Mandela was trying to do. So this isn't necessarily some evil dictator that he was dealing with. It was just a guy that was in that position, and I want to say in the end he stepped down willingly to allow the new system to move in. So pretty cool story
Nice.
there about how all that went down, and part of the reason why he's considered such a hero. So yeah,
Cool.
there you go. And that is our events of July 1992. Before we get into games this week, I feel like we haven't been giving enough love to television shows.
I just watched the first episode.
A while back, I watched the end of the final episode, and I don't know that there's many more depressing shows or depressing endings.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the end is the like it's really cold because I guess the ice age is hit and there's a meteor on the way, and they're just kind of all huddled up in a house, just waiting on the end or whatever.
Yep.
And they're like, they all kind of love each other, and the final shot is just it drifting out in the cold snow, and you just know that they're goners. I'm like, my gosh, what a terrible ending to a show that was supposed to be silly and fun,
Okay, so
Wasn't it only like 3 seasons too?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think it lasted longer than, if you look at it, I'm like, how did this thing even make it onto television? But it lasted a while.
fair enough. 3 seasons is respectable, right? 3
Yeah,
seasons is-
absolutely.
yeah, we tried to watch the first episode a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago. and,
Not very watchable.
I wasn't feeling it. I'm gonna say that it was me. And Eleanor really wasn't paying attention to it at all. But if I remember correctly, it was like a legit show, right? Like just a legit
Oh, it was part
family sitcom. It was just puppets.
It was part of the primetime block for the
Right.
however many seasons it was on.
Shout out to dinosaurs.
Wasn't it the catchphrase like "I'm the baby" or something like that from this show?
Not the mama.
Not
That's
the
what,
mama.
What he
Yep.
always yelled at. Like the daddy was always
Not
trying
the
to
mama,
like.
not the mama.
4 seasons, by the way, 65
Okay.
episodes.
Cheers to them.
Before going extinct.